Welcome to the Blog Millionaire, where we break down the essential strategies of today's most successful bloggers to take your blog to the next level with top-notch content, monumental traffic growth, and multiple revenue streams to go beyond your wildest goals. So get ready to blog like a pro and make your traffic explode with your host, whose blog gets more than 1 million visitors every single month, Brandon Gailey.
My name's Brandon Gailey, and welcome to episode 87 of the Blog Millionaire. Over the next 4 episodes, I'm going to dive deep into the 4 pillars of blogging success. These 4 pillars are largely responsible for the success of my blogs and the blogs of the bloggers that have taken my online course. Real quickly, let me take you back in time to show you the when, what, and how I created my blogging system. After a health disorder left me physically and mentally disabled for several years, I overcame the odds to regain my health so that I could help my pregnant wife beat breast cancer. 3 years later, I launched my blog, BrandonGailey.com. Within 4 months, my blog had surpassed 100,000 monthly visitors. Less than 2 years after my first post, there were over 1 million business owners reading my blog every single month. Before I launched my blog, I spent 6 months studying the most successful blogs across every industry. From my extensive data analysis, I was able to build a system for creating blogs that grew at a ridiculous pace. There are 4 pillars that are mostly responsible for generating over 45 million page views to my blogs in the past year alone. These 4 pillars are: number 1, keyword research. Most amateur bloggers fail miserably in this area, and it's because they don't spend enough time mastering the art of keyword research. My keyword research formula is my secret sauce, which lays the foundation for hockey stick growth. Number 2, compelling blog titles. The blog title is actually more important than the actual article itself. If no one clicks the title, then no one's going to read the article. Number 3, engaging content. Once you get them to click on your title, then you need to pull them in deep into your post. The average visitor spends over 5 minutes reading my blog post. And number 4, getting high quality links. A couple of high quality links can push every single post of a blog to the top of Google rankings. It's all about quality over quantity. This episode will focus on pillar number 1, which is keyword research. Keyword research is where the Google rankings battle is won. You need to spend time becoming a master at keyword research if you want to have success with your blog. This is what separates the pros from the amateurs. I have a pretty complex keyword research formula, which is at the foundation of my success. It would be impossible to explain it over a podcast, and that is why I have an entire video module dedicated to it in my online course. Instead of trying to explain the whole formula, I'm going to just focus this episode on 3 tactics that have played a vital role in getting over 50,000 page 1 Google rankings. The first tactic is that you need to use SEMrush as your keyword tool. This is the most important investment in your blog's future. SEMrush is hands down the best keyword research tool, and it's worth every penny. If you're using anything else for keyword research, then you're just doing it wrong. It amazes me how many bloggers continue to cut corners with keyword research. Instead of investing some money in SEMrush, they attempt to use the free keyword tool that is available through AdWords. This is the wrong tool for the job. Let me give you a quick analogy so that you can understand how wrong the AdWords tool is for organic keyword research. If you have kids, then you are probably familiar with swapping out batteries on their toys. Most of the batteries are encased by a piece of plastic which requires a really small Phillips screwdriver to open. Imagine trying to get the batteries out of this cute little plastic toy with a sledgehammer. You may get the batteries out, but you will shatter the toy into 1,000 pieces. The AdWords tool is a great tool if you're buying ads through AdWords, but that's what it's for. It's for people that are buying ads. not for bloggers that are trying to place their blog post in the top Google rankings for organic Google search. If you want to see the power of SEMrush, then you can use my special link, which is going to give you 2 weeks free of their pro account. To get your 2 weeks for free, all you need to do is go to theblogmillionaire.com/SEMrush. The second tactic is to focus on keyword phrases with less than 100,000 Google results. When you type in a phrase into Google, it's going to return a certain number of results. For example, for the phrase internet marketing, it'll say at the top of the page that Google has found 207 million pages for that specific search. The chances your blog will rank in the top 3 results for any keyword phrase with over 100,000 Google results are pretty small. It is a mathematical equation at the end of the day. The lower the Google results, the easier it is to get top rankings that'll yield residual organic Google traffic. Unfortunately, most bloggers want to write about the same topics that millions and millions of other bloggers have already written about. The most successful bloggers don't waste their time writing on popular topics. Instead, they break down the topic as far as they can with intelligent keyword research. There are 2 exceptions to the 100,000 Google result rule. The first exception is if your blog has topic authority. If your blog is really niche specific and you are consistently ranking well for topics within that niche, then you can go after phrases with up to 500,000 Google results. The second exception is if your blog has a domain authority above 40. In that case, your focus can expand to phrases with up to 250,000 Google results. If your blog's domain is above a domain authority 45, then you can go ahead and go after phrases with up to 500,000 results. Even though I have a domain authority of 47 for my blog, I stay away from the top level topics. I still look for phrases under 100,000 results, and I rarely go beyond that. Let me give you a real-world example of how to break down the topic as far as you can with intelligent keyword research. I had one of my students that is taking my online course ask me about an article that he was writing on SEO tips. I told him to go ahead and stop writing because SEO tips had millions of competing results in Google. I spent 10 minutes using my proven keyword research process, and I was able to find several topics on SEO which no one was competing for. A few of the phrases I found were HT-Access redirect, GoDaddy 301 redirect, Shopify rich snippets, and WooCommerce rich snippets. All 4 of these phrases had less than 100,000 Google results. In addition, each of these phrases are solving a very specific problem, which makes that traffic more valuable. The more specific it is, the easier it is to make money off of it with ads, affiliate marketing links, and it's also easier to convert that traffic into email subscribers. The third and final tactic that I'm going to share with you today is what I call digging deep to find the gold. The keyword phrases that'll push your blog over 1 million monthly visitors are going to be buried, and you need to put in the effort to find them. Before I share my 5-step formula for digging deep, let me tell you the story of R.U. Darby, which was immortalized by the author Sharon Lechter. Darby and his uncle had heard about the gold to be found in the western frontier. They left Maryland and hit to Colorado to stake their claim. Soon after, they had discovered a large deposit of gold. They bought the equipment to mine it and sent off the first gold ore to the smelters. Everything was going great until suddenly the gold just ran out. They kept on digging, but they continued to strike out and find nothing. After digging for a while, they decided to give up. The 2 men ended up selling all of their equipment and claim to a junk man who bought it all for pennies on the dollar. The junk man knew that he wasn't an expert in mine engineering, so he went ahead and hired a mine engineer specialist to take a look at the mine that he had just acquired. Based on the mine engineer's calculations, the Darbys had stopped digging just 3 feet away from one of the biggest deposits of gold in U.S. history. The junk man ended up making millions and millions and millions of dollars just because he took the time to find the expert to do the calculations. There are two takeaways here that apply to bloggers and keyword research. The first is that 99% of all bloggers don't take the time to dig deep enough with their own keyword research. Most bloggers just want to get to the writing part as fast as they can. After a year, they have written 100 blog posts and they are scratching their heads wondering why their blog isn't growing. Oftentimes, they end up quitting out of frustration. The second takeaway is that many bloggers try to figure out the process on their own. They might read a few posts on keyword research, but they are unwilling to pay for an online course from a proven expert. The junk man paid the money for the expert. He didn't waste any time digging before the expert told him exactly where to dig. Now that I have you motivated to dig a little deeper, let me reveal my 5-step keyword research formula that I use on all of my blogs and how you could use it on yours. The first step is to start off with a brainstorm session. You'll create a list of every possible word that is related to the topics that you could write about. Focus on 1- and 2-word phrases. If one of your phrases is email marketing techniques, then parse it down to email marketing, because email marketing techniques is 3 words and you want to get it down to 2 words or 1 word. The second step is to expand. You'll insert every word from your brainstorm list into thesaurus.com to find synonyms of each word to add to your existing list. Also, look for glossaries on each of the major topics. For example, I found many of the SEO phrases I mentioned earlier by scanning several SEO glossaries that were online. The third step is research. Type each word from your expanded list into SEMrush and download the spreadsheets for every word. The fourth step is to compile. You're going to merge all of the keywords from your SEMrush spreadsheets into one big master spreadsheet. You'll just copy and paste the data from each download into your master. And the final step is to identify. You'll rank that master spreadsheet by the number of keyword results from least to most. And at that point, you have the words with the least amount of competition, and you'll go down the list and mark all the keyword phrases that you'll be able to turn into a post title to write about. The vast majority of phrases that have less than 100,000 Google results are long tail keywords. On top of being easier to get first page rankings, these long-tailed keywords have the highest conversion rates. Going back to the SEO example, you only know so much about someone who goes to Google and types in SEO tips. On the other hand, the person that types in Shopify rich snippets has a specific persona. They are using Shopify as their host, they are selling physical products through an online store, and they are trying to use rich snippets to showcase their products better in Google search. As I also mentioned earlier, the more you know about visitors to a specific blog post, the easier it is to tailor the ads, affiliate links, and email opt-in forms. If a lot of the stuff I mentioned in this episode sounds a little complicated, then don't feel too bad. Keyword research is complicated and very hard to master. That is why I dedicate an entire module in my online course to breaking down my keyword research formula. I will walk you through every step, showing you example after example. Every person that takes my course and has had phenomenal success always points back to my keyword research module as being the big difference maker. I am the mind engineer from the story, and you are 3 feet from gold. Let me show you where you need to dig. If you want to bypass the waitlist to my online course and get access to everything, then go on over to theblogmillionaire.com to sign up to my free masterclass webinar, How I Got to 1 Million Monthly Visitors. And that'll do it for pillar number 1. In the next episode, I'll be breaking down pillar number 2 of the 4 pillars of blogging success. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Thanks for tuning in for this episode of The Blog Millionaire. Go over to theblogmillionaire.com now to sign up to the waiting list for Brandon's exclusive online course that breaks down exactly how he gets over 1 million monthly visitors to his blog. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss any future episodes, and please take a moment to write a review for our podcast in the App Store. Welcome to the Blog Millionaire, where we break down the essential strategies of today's most successful bloggers to take your blog to the next level with top-notch content, monumental traffic growth, and multiple revenue streams to go beyond your wildest goals. So get ready to blog like a pro and make your traffic explode with your host, whose blog gets more than 1 million visitors every single month, Brandon Gailey.
My name's Brandon Gailey, and welcome to episode 88 of the Blog Millionaire. This is the second part of a 4-part series where I'm doing a deep dive into the 4 pillars of blogging success. In the last episode, I broke down some key tactics to use for keyword research, which was pillar number 1 of blogging success. The second pillar is having a process in place for creating compelling blog post titles. Once you have the keyword phrases to target, the next step is to turn those phrases into post titles. I use a Google spreadsheet to keep track of all of my post titles and to plan out my future post. I start by transferring all of my keyword phrases into the spreadsheet. Column A has the keyword phrase, column B has the monthly search volume of the keyword phrases, and column C has the number of Google results of each of the keyword phrases. I include the search volume in Google results because it helps me prioritize posts based on their ability to get traffic. I use an equation called keyword value to determine which keywords to go after first. That equation is simply the keyword's monthly search volume divided by the number of Google results. For example, if I have a keyword phrase that I'm targeting called widget tips, and that phrase has a monthly search volume of 1,200 and 50,000 Google results, then the equation would be the 1,200 monthly search volume divided by the 50,000 Google results. That's 1,200 divided by 50,000. This would give widget tips a keyword value of 0.24. Let's say I add 250 keyword phrases to my Google spreadsheet. Once again, column A has my keywords, column B has the search volume, and column C has the Google results. I will copy and paste the keyword value equation into column D, which is monthly search volume divided by number of Google results. After that, I will re-rank column D from largest to smallest. This simple equation will always keep me writing posts on keyword phrases that have the greatest chance to rank high in Google and deliver substantial traffic. If I come across another 10 keyword phrases a couple of weeks later, then I will add them to my spreadsheet and re-rank all the keywords by the keyword value in column D once again. You're gonna find new keywords all of the time. The new ones with a really high keyword value should not get buried at the bottom of your post planner. Always re-rank your list after you add any new keywords to your post planner spreadsheet. Now that you know how to prioritize your keywords in your post planner spreadsheet, let's go ahead and move on to how to turn those keywords into compelling blog post titles. Having a catchy title plays the largest role in how much traffic your blog post will get. It determines where your post will rank in Google, how many social shares your post will get, and if your email list will even take a chance on your latest featured post. The mistake that most bloggers make is spending all of their time on content and just a couple of minutes on the headline copy. The headline is the most important piece of your blog post. If you fail to create a compelling headline, then your great piece of content will rarely get seen or shared. In the past 6 years, I have crafted over 8,000 post titles. Collectively, those article titles have driven close to 100 million visitors to read those posts. With that being said, let me go over 9 tips for writing compelling titles and the psychology that drives people to click them. Once I'm finished with these 9 tips, I will walk you through my complete strategy for creating blog post titles that outrank every other post in Google results. Now on to the 9 tips. Number 1, use a number at the beginning of your blog title to move up the Google rankings. Numbered titles that lead to list formatted blog posts move up the rankings faster than any other type of blog post. The reason behind this is that people prefer to scan through the key points of articles. If they see the number 11 at the beginning of a title, then it is clear to them they will be able to quickly scan through the 11 key points that are listed out within the post. This psychological preference drives more clicks and keeps them reading numbered posts longer than any other competing Google result. Google's algorithm recognizes this and rewards the numbered post with higher rankings. Number 2, the odd-numbered blog post title outperforms the even-numbered title. Although no one has yet to explain the psychology behind this one, the odd-numbered headline gets more clicks than the even-numbered headline. The Content Marketing Institute published the results of a study that analyzed over 150,000 of the most successful headlines on their platform. They found that the odd-numbered headlines were clicked on 20% more than the even-numbered headlines. Number 3, sentence case is the best style to use for headline capitalization. The 3 most common types of headline capitalization styles are sentence case, where you just capitalize the first letter of each major word, lowercase, where all the letters are lowercase, and capitals, where everything's in caps. Studies have shown that the sentence case titles are clicked on 300% more than the other type of titles. Number 4, use 57 characters or less in blog titles to keep Google from cutting them off. If your blog title is too long, then Google is going to cut off the tail end of it. The 2 techniques used to optimize title length in Google are, the first one is bare minimum characters. This strategy focuses on keeping all titles under 45 characters to ensure that the complete title gets read every time. Keep in mind that the different letters take up more and less space. For example, the letter W takes up 4 times the amount of space as the letter I. If you limit the title to 45 characters, then it will only get cut off about 2% of the time. The second technique is stacking the targeted keyword phrase at the beginning. If you use this strategy, then you will not be bound to a character limit. Just be sure that the keyword phrase that you're wanting to be seen and ranked for is in the first half of the blog title. Moz studied over 28,000 titles that were on the first page of Google results for the popular keyword phrases. They found that the range of post titles to be cut off was between 42 and 68 characters, with the average being cut off at 57.7 characters. Number 5, the ideal number of words in a title is 6. Now, you don't need to go crazy on this one and only write headlines with 6 words. The big takeaway here is to make your first 6 words count. Because people scan headlines, those 6 words need to quickly state what your article is about. Number 6, using one superlative in your blog title will get you the best results. A superlative is a strong adjective that is placed at the beginning of the title for extra emphasis. They can give you an extra boost in clicks, but you want to limit yourself to one really good one in your title. Number 7, scare them into clicking your title with a negative superlative. Life insurance commercials have been scaring us into buying policies for decades. The same psychological concept works with blog titles. For example, 11 best ways to build your business does not get as many clicks as 11 worst things that will destroy your business. Outbrain did a study on 65,000 titles within their network to compare titles with negative, positive, and no superlative. The titles with the negative superlatives clearly outperformed the rest by over 30%. Number 8, use you or your to address the reader in the blog title. People like to feel as if you're talking directly to them. Here are a couple of examples of reader-addressed titles. 19 great blog strategies that will grow your traffic. 9 blog marketing tips just for you. Buffer analyzed the most shared headlines in their platform, and they found that reader-addressed titles ranked second behind the list post title. And number 9, if you're going to ask a question in your blog title, be sure to use how. The only primary question word that performs well in headlines is how. A good example of this would be how to write killer blog headlines. Now that you know what drives people to click on titles, let me show you how I use all of these to create compelling titles that rise to the first page of Google results. It starts with using the perfect title formula as often as possible. The perfect title formula is odd number plus superlative plus exact keyword phrase. If the keyword phrase that you're targeting in your post planner is WordPress SEO plugins, then your title might be 11 Best WordPress SEO Plugins. The perfect title formula allows you to start your title with an odd number, include a superlative, and front load your title with the exact keyword phrase. It also keeps your titles under the ideal character count so that your post title is not going to get cut off in Google results. I use the perfect title formula for at least 50% of my post titles. I always try to convert a keyword phrase into a title that uses the perfect title formula. If I can do that with 90% of the keywords, then all the better. There is a real simple way to leverage Google's data to fine-tune the perfect title formula. You'll start by doing a scan of the first page of Google results to see what other titles are promising. If your exact keyword phrase was SEO tips, then you would do a Google search for SEO tips. From that search, you will find the following post titles on the first page of Google results. 101 quick and actionable SEO tips that are huge. 75 actionable SEO tips that work like a charm in 2018. 21 actionable SEO tips that work great in 2018. The titles that rank on the first page of Google are there because they rose to the top through a deep evaluation of Google's ranking algorithm. These titles are getting clicked on more than any other SEO tips titles. This makes it real easy to see what Google searchers want to see in the title and the content of the post. When you know what the Google searchers want, then you can fine-tune the different parts of your title. The first part of the perfect title formula is the number. All you need to do to fine-tune the number is to go one step further than what the other titles are promising on the first page. The 3 titles in the first page of Google results for SEO tips that I mentioned earlier led with the following numbers: 101, 75, and 21. Since 101 is the largest number on the first page of Google results, I would use a number greater than 101 that is an odd number. In this case, I went ahead and went with 125. Google searchers are naturally drawn to clicking the title with the highest number. The second part of the perfect title formula is the superlative. Let's take another look at the 3 titles that showed up in the top of the results on the first page of Google for SEO tips. They were 101 quick and actionable SEO tips that are huge, 75 actionable SEO tips that work like a charm in 2018, and 21 actionable SEO tips that work great in 2018. All 3 of these titles are using actionable as a superlative in the title. Clearly, people looking for SEO tips want tips that are easy to put into action right away. Now we have the odd number, the superlative, and the exact keyword phrase for our title, which leaves us with 125 actionable SEO tips. The title, 125 actionable SEO tips, is a good title, but it's not a great title compared to the 3 titles that I just mentioned. When compared to the other 3 titles, putting them right next to each other that rank on the first page of Google, it looks a little generic. To take it from good to great, you want to use the tail end of your title to add additional wants, which are showing up in the title of the other first page results. So, once again, let's take a look at the 3 titles that stood out the most on the first page of Google results for the phrase SEO tips. 101 quick and actionable SEO tips that are huge. 75 actionable SEO tips that work like a charm in 2018. And 21 actionable SEO tips that work great in 2018. The other want that stands out in these titles is the searcher wants tips that still work in 2018. This gives me the final piece to add to my title. The final version is 125 actionable SEO tips that work in 2018 and beyond. Let's see how it stands against the top 3 titles for the search phrase SEO tips. So just imagine doing a quick Google search for SEO tips and you're reading through the following 4 titles. 101 quick and actionable SEO tips that are huge. 75 actionable SEO tips that work like a charm in 2018. 21 actionable SEO tips that work great in 2018. And 125 actionable SEO tips that work in 2018 and beyond. All 4 of these are great titles. My title promises actionable SEO tips that work in 2018 like the other 3. However, it goes a step further by offering 24 more tips. It also promises that these tips will be working in 2018 and in 2019 by stating that the SEO tips will work in 2018 and beyond. One additional note here. On titles that use a year like 2018, you'll need to go back to these posts each year and add a couple of new tips. After that, you can change the title from 2018 to 2019. And finally, you'll need to change the date of the post to the date you made the update. That way, when it shows up on Google, it'll show as being published in January of 2019 as opposed to January of 2018. All of these little things add up, and it can make the difference between ranking number 5 and ranking number 1 on Google. A number 5 ranking is great, but a number 1 ranking will get 10,000 visitors a month compared to 2,000 visitors a month with a ranking of number 5. A number 1 ranking will also have a conversion rate that is up to 10 times greater than a number 5 ranking. That means 10 times more email subscribers and sales per every 1,000 visitors that post generates. The one thing I want you to remember more than anything else here is that if you can't spend the time to create a truly great post title, then it's just a waste of time to write the actual article. I covered some pretty advanced tactics in this episode, so feel free to listen to this one a second time with pen and paper in hand. Before I say goodbye, I want to remind you to subscribe to my podcast so that you never miss a future episode. It only takes a second to hit the subscribe button. That simple action will give you everything you need to turn your blog into a traffic and money-producing machine that delivers incredible content day in and day out. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode on the second pillar of blogging success. And I look forward to teaching you how to master pillar number 3 in the next one.
Thanks for tuning in for this episode of The Blog Millionaire. Go over to theblogmillionaire.com now to sign up to the waiting list for Brandon's exclusive online course that breaks down exactly how he gets over 1 million monthly visitors to his blog. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss any future episodes, and please take a moment to write a review for our podcast in the App Store. Welcome to the Blog Millionaire, where we break down the essential strategies of today's most successful bloggers to take your blog to the next level with top-notch content, monumental traffic growth, and multiple revenue streams to go beyond your wildest goals. So get ready to blog like a pro and make your traffic explode with your host, whose blog gets more than 1 million visitors every single month, Brandon Gailey.
My name's Brandon Gailey, and welcome to episode 89 of the Blog Millionaire. At this point, we have covered the first two pillars of blogging success. Pillar 1 was keyword research. I taught you some core tactics to help you find keywords which had little competition to target with your blog. Pillar 2 was all about creating compelling blog post titles. I walked you through how to turn each of the phrases you found during your keyword research into clickable titles that'll show up high in the Google results. In this episode, pillar number 3, I will be teaching you how to increase the average dwell time of your blog by pulling readers into your blog post with hyper-engaging content. The 3 biggest factors of the Google algorithm are your blog's domain authority, click-through rate, and dwell time. The higher these 3 metrics are, the higher your blog post will rank in the Google results. Domain authority increases by having other high-authority websites linked to your blog. The click-through rate increases by having compelling blog post titles that drive people to check out your blog post. And dwell time increases by strategically incorporating a wide arrangement of factors to increase the engagement of each of your blog posts. Dwell time is essentially the amount of time someone spends in your blog after they do a Google search. So someone goes to Google and they perform a search for SEO tips. They end up clicking on your blog post that's about SEO tips, and that's when dwell time starts. When they're done reading your post or anything else in your blog and they hit the back button and return to Google, that's when dwell time stops. You can see the approximate dwell time of your post by looking at your average time on page in Google Analytics. The longer your dwell time, the higher your post will rise up in the rankings. Search Metrics found that the average dwell time for the top 10 Google rankings was right at 3 minutes and 10 seconds. In this episode, I will be giving you some of the top tactics that I've used to achieve an average dwell time on my blog post of over 5 minutes. The first tactic is very simple and obvious. The longer your post is, the longer it will take for someone to read it. Long-form posts have been proven time and time again to rank higher in the Google results. The average word count of the top ranked results on Google is between 1,900 and 2,400 words. There have been 2 big studies on word count and Google rankings in the past couple of years. One had the average word count at 2,416 words, and the other had it at 1,900 words. While this holds true for just about 80% of all topics, there are some exceptions to this rule. For example, a single recipe post is not going to have over 1,900 words. SEMrush has a nice tool called the SEO Content Template. When I put in a keyword phrase I want to write a post on, it will analyze the word counts of the top 10 rankings for that keyword phrase. When I type in Rocky Road Parfait Recipe and hit return, it tells me the average word count of the top 10 results on Google for that phrase is 632 words. If I were creating a post for a Rocky Road Parfait recipe, then I would aim for at least 770 total words. That'll give me 20% more words than the main competition on the first page of Google. While most experts will just tell you to go beyond 2,000 words every time, this is just a shotgun approach to simplify what you need to be doing. Using a shotgun will allow you to kill most things up close, but using a rifle will allow you to bring down the big game that might remain out of your reach if you continue to use the shotgun. In this case, the rifle would be to add a column to your blog post planner that includes the average word count of the first 10 Google results for every keyword that you're going to write a post on. This will allow you to deliver 20% more than the competition for every keyword that you write on. Sometimes it might be 2,000 words. Other times it might require a shorter post of 700 words or an extreme long post of over 4,000 words. Once you know your word count, then it's time to begin writing. After someone clicks to your post, then the first thing they're going to read is your introduction. I recommend using the agree, promise, preview formula for your intros. There are 3 elements to this formula. The first element is the agree. Your introduction will begin with an idea or thought that your reader will agree with. You will want to put yourself in the shoes of the person that is performing a Google search. Think about what their problem is and create a statement that they will see and agree with. By doing this with your first sentence, you will convey to them that you truly understand their problem. The reader sees this and perceives that you are actively listening to them. If you have read any books on how to be great at selling, then you'll recognize this principle. It is impossible to build rapport without learning how to actively listen. The second element of this intro formula is the promise. The promise will show them that there's a light at the end of the tunnel and they're not alone. This element is actually a combination of a hook and a transition. I like to start by mentioning how I dealt with the same problem and what I did to overcome it. Then I end it by stating the results that I achieved with the solution that I came up with. These results act as the hook and the solution serves as the transition. When I am looking to learn from someone, I like to know that they faced and overcame the same problem that I'm trying to solve. If you did not overcome the problem yourself, then you can use someone else's journey and results for this section of your introduction. The third and final element of this intro formula is the preview. This is by far the easiest part of this growth hack. All you need to do is tell them exactly what you're going to give them. It should only take you 1 sentence to deliver a really great preview. Essentially, you are just giving them a preview of the solution to their problem, which you'll be breaking down within your blog post. Let me read you an example so that you can hear it in action. I use the agree, promise, preview formula for my blog post titled, "The Greatest Blog Introduction Growth Hack of All Time." The agreement portion of this intro was, I think you will agree with me when I tell you a blog post will rarely get read if it has a poorly written introduction. The promise portion of the introduction was, the problem with this is that most bloggers struggle with their introduction. It took me 6 months of writing blog posts before I started to master the art of the introduction. I would like to tell you that it was 6 months of hard work that led me into mastery, but it was actually as simple as copying the formulas of other pro bloggers. Once I had a couple of intro formulas, then everything fell into place in a matter of minutes. The impact of these formulas instantly had an impact on my average time on page. Google's RankBrain saw my increased dwell time, and it rewarded me by pushing hundreds of my posts to the #1 spot on Google. And finally, the preview portion of this intro was, in this post, I'm going to teach you how to use one of the all-time greatest blog introduction formulas. And that's the end of that intro example. The agree, promise, preview method is a simple growth hack that compels people to read your entire post after just seeing a handful of sentences. In a matter of 30 seconds, this method builds rapport and creates excitement. After the intro, then you need to deliver some great content that addresses what they came to Google to find. I'm not going to spend a bunch of time on how to find great content. It is real simple at the end of the day. All you need to do is read through the 10 blog posts that rank on the first page of Google for the topic that you're trying to rank for. This will allow you to create an outline of the best points that were made, and then you can expound upon each one in your own voice. The formatting of your content is actually more important than the content itself. If you have bad formatting, then new visitors will just hit the back button immediately. There are 5 formatting tactics that have shown to impact engagement more than any others. Number 1, no more than 7 sentences per paragraph. If a new visitor comes to your post and sees a long paragraph, then they are going to leave. Short paragraphs pull new visitors deeper into a post. Number 2, use headers, numbered lists, and bullets. These 3 formatting techniques allow visitors to scan through your blog post to identify if it's worth reading. Each of your headers and subheaders should entice the scanners to want to read more. Number 3, your font size should be between 14 points and 18 points. Over 80% of the top blogs and news sites use a font size between 14 and 18 points. It is easier to read, and it makes the readers feel like they are moving through the article at a nice pace. Number 4, set your line spacing to 130 to 150%. The proper line spacing keeps your words from being crowded together and uses white space to frame your content. And number 5, use black text on white background. There is a good reason why 99% of all books ever written use black text on a white background. It makes it real easy to read. You can get creative with your colors, with your logo, and your footer. Another area that also falls into the visual display of your post are the placement of visuals throughout it. Embedded visuals are the best and easiest way to execute this. These visuals don't slow down your server, and you don't have to worry about making adjustments with an image editor. There are 3 embeds that stand above the rest. Number 1, YouTube videos. The best practice is to use 1 to 2 videos within a post that are directly related to the content. Videos that are between 3 and 20 minutes long will create the most engagement. Be sure only to select videos from YouTube that have a good thumbs up to thumbs down ratio. Number 2, Twitter tweets with images. Amateur bloggers use stock photos. Pro bloggers use embedded tweets with images. In addition to saving money on stock photos, embedded image tweets will give every image in your post an interactive social component. Just go to Twitter and do a search for any keyword. Every tweet with an image can be embedded within your post. If I'm doing a blog post on Richard Branson, then tweets with images from Richard Branson's Twitter account will add more value to the post than just adding whatever stock photos are available to you. Number 3 are infographics. Visually, which is visual.ly, has thousands of infographics that you can embed directly at the bottom of your blog post. This can easily add another minute to your average time on page. People love infographics. They love to read them, and they love to share them. On top of the increased engagement, posts with images and videos have been proven to attract more inbound links. At this point, you have completed a post with 20% more words than the average word count of the top 10 Google results. Your post begins with an intro that uses the agree, promise, and preview formula, and it is beautifully formatted with value-added visuals. The final addition will be to the end of the post with strategically placed internal links. If you do this right, you can add a couple of more minutes to your dwell time of each of your posts. There are 4 things you need to do to create great internal links that drive visitors deeper into your blog. Number 1, you need to create a natural transition to the internal link. The Lazy Blogger's internal link is the related post section built into the theme of their blog. While it is good to have a related post section, those links are rarely clicked on. You're relying on a low-end program to randomly choose posts from the same category. On top of that, it has a similar feel to a banner ad because it's not part of the article. The internal links that have the most clicks have a natural transition within the post. It needs to look and feel like part of the article. I recommend creating a 3 to 5 sentence transition paragraph. This will whet their appetite for what will be revealed when they click on the internal link. The second thing you need to do is to use the same font size for the internal links as you used with the rest of your article. I have to admit, I failed to do this in the first year of my blog. I thought if I just made those internal links bigger and bolder, then people would click on them like crazy. This was not the case. Once I finally changed my internal links to the same font size as the post, I saw a 350% increase in internal link clicks. The third thing is to create a custom post specific internal link. A good blog is going to have a primary writing focus on 4 to 6 major categories. If you are doing this, then you will have plenty of posts that are directly related to each other. This will allow you to create custom post-specific internal links at the end of each of your posts. Here are 2 examples to give you an idea how to do this. The first example, the post that you're writing is called the 11 on-page SEO techniques. Your custom internal link is going to link to another post called the 7 off-page SEO techniques. The second example is you're writing a post with the title 9 Twitter profile tips. Your custom internal link is going to go to a post titled 7 ways to get more retweets. In both of these examples, you can see that the post content is directly related to the content of the internal link. The first example, 11 on-page SEO techniques, linked to 7 off-page SEO techniques. And the second example, 9 Twitter profile tips, linked to 7 ways to get more retweets. In addition to doing this with future posts, you should go back and do this with your top 100 most visited posts. For any of these posts that you cannot find a good match to use for a custom internal link, then you will want to write one that will be a good match. Your top 100 posts are already ranking high in Google, and a good custom internal link can push them even higher. And the fourth and final thing you want to do in regards to internal links is to create a pillar post internal link for each major category on your blog. For every category in your blog that gets traffic, you should have a pillar post on that category. A pillar post is a post that puts your best foot forward. These posts are usually epic masterpieces that are well beyond 2,000 words, and they are loaded with visual elements. At the end of the pillar post, there is either a transition to one of your products or a lead magnet that's designed to get readers to subscribe to your list. This is an easy way to create an internal link funnel that takes all these new visitors to your best pieces of content. You can use the WordPress plugin Ad Inserter to create a custom transition paragraph with your internal link that'll show up in every post within a specific category. A pillar post category internal link can be paired with a custom post specific internal link. Just be sure to have a transition sentence for each one. The ideal situation would be a custom post specific internal link first, and then it is followed by your category specific internal link. For example, let's say I write a post on an apple pie recipe. The custom post specific internal link might go to another blog post that has an apple pie crust recipe. The category specific internal link that follows might be the 11 greatest pie recipes of all time. And one more example. Let's say I write a post on Brittany Spaniel behavior problems. The custom post specific internal link might go to another blog post written about Brittany Spaniel temperament. The category-specific internal link that follows it might go to a post titled 13 Things Every Brittany Spaniel Owner Needs to Know. By pairing a custom post-specific internal link with a category-specific internal link, you will be able to drive visitors deeper into your site, which is going to increase your overall dwell time. And that'll do it for pillar number 3. If you have not already subscribed to my podcast, then please take a quick second to hit the subscribe button. I don't want you to miss the final episode of the 4 pillars of blogging success. It's going to be an epic episode. It will give you the final piece of the puzzle to take your blog's traffic to a whole new level. As always, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Thanks for tuning in for this episode of The Blog Millionaire. Go over to theblogmillionaire.com now to sign up to the waiting list for Brandon's exclusive online course that breaks down exactly how he gets over 1 million monthly visitors to his blog. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss any future episodes, and please take a moment to write a review for our podcast in the App Store. Welcome to The Blog Millionaire, where we break down the essential strategies of today's most successful bloggers to take your blog to the next level with top-notch content, monumental traffic growth, and multiple revenue streams to go beyond your wildest goals. So get ready to blog like a pro and make your traffic explode with your host, whose blog gets more than 1 million visitors every single month, Brandon Gailey.
My name's Brandon Gailey, and welcome to episode 90 of The Blog Millionaire. This is the 4th and final part of the 4 Pillars of Blogging Success series. If you've listened to the first 3 parts, then you have learned some of my core strategies for keyword research, coming up with compelling post titles, and writing highly engaging blog posts. The final piece of the puzzle is link building. Even with all the changes to the Google algorithm over the years, inbound links still influence rankings more than anything else. I have seen blogs add 100,000 monthly visitors from just one high-quality backlink. Let me walk you through a real quick example so that you can see how this works. A business blogger has been writing daily posts for 3 years. Over that time period, they have built up their traffic to 50,000 monthly visitors from organic Google search. Those 50,000 monthly visitors are entering their blog across 1,000 different blog posts that they have published since launching their blog. The business blog has a domain authority of 34. If you don't already know, domain authority is a 0 to 100 scoring system for determining the inbound link profile of a blog or a website. The more high-quality inbound links your blog has, the higher your domain authority will be. The higher the domain authority, the higher your Google rankings will be. Now let's go back to the example. The business blogger ends up getting a brand new backlink from the Wall Street Journal, which has a domain authority of 97 out of a possible 100. This single backlink pushes the business blog from a domain authority of 34 to a domain authority of 39. Over the next 90 days, Google's algorithm pushes that extra domain authority down across all of the 1,000 blog posts of that business blog. From there, all 1,000 blog posts get bumped up in the Google rankings. Number 10 rankings become number 7 rankings. Number 5 rankings become number 3 rankings. And number 2 rankings become number 1 rankings. This rankings bump ends up pushing their monthly Google traffic from 50,000 visitors a month to 150,000 visitors a month. Not every instance of a new inbound link is going to add 100,000 visitors like this example. Most of the time, it is 5 to 10 links acquired over 120 days that add another 20% to 50% of traffic. No matter what the actual number turns out to be, it has a big impact because of the effect across every single blog post of your blog. Now that you know why it is important and how it works, let me show you how to systematically acquire high-quality inbound links throughout the year. There are two primary strategies for getting high-quality inbound links. The first strategy is getting links from sources by leveraging your expertise without having to create any content on your blog. This usually leads to inbound links that point to your homepage. I refer to this as summit linking, which is summit like the top of a mountain. The second strategy is creating top-notch content on your blog that compels other sites to link to it. This tactic will create inbound links to specific blog posts across your blog, which is referred to as deep linking. A healthy blog will have a nice spread of inbound links to a variety of pages and posts within the blog. So, you don't want to focus 100% of your link building time on just getting links to your homepage. It is best to split your time 50-50 between these two primary link building strategies. There are probably close to 30 legitimate ways to get inbound links. In this episode, I'm going to focus on the most effective link building tactics that I've used over the past couple of years. I'm going to start with my two favorite tactics for getting links using this summit linking strategy. The first summit linking tactic is using HARO to have reporters list you and your site as a source. HARO, which stands for Help a Reporter Out, is a service that journalists use to find sources for their articles. You'll register with the site as a source to get requests from reporters with the stories they need sources for. Here are 3 of the best practices for getting high-quality backlinks using HARO. The first is the information in your personal profile plays a major role on HARO. This paragraph is going to get read by every reporter that considers using you as a source. In 6 sentences, you'll want to explain what makes you special along with your past experience. The second best practice is to not pitch anonymous reporters. Only pitch reporters who list their website, and make sure that website has a domain authority of greater than 30, because you don't want to waste your time on websites with no domain authority, because that's not going to impact your Google rankings. And the third best practice is to always respond within 10 minutes of the HARO email. HARO sends out emails with the latest request Monday through Friday at 5:35 a.m., 12:25 p.m., and 5:35 p.m., all Eastern Standard Time. Most reporters that are on a deadline will choose the first qualified source that comes their way. I recommend making 5 pitches on stories per week that you have a specific experience on. Once you supply a couple of reporters with great info, then they're going to start reaching out to you directly. If you want to get a full breakdown of how to use HARO to get backlinks, you can go listen to episode 62 with the title Getting Serious Backlinks and Press with HARO. The second summit linking tactic is to do podcast interviews to get backlinks on their show notes pages. Podcasters are constantly looking for people to interview on their shows. If you get interviewed, then your website will get a backlink in the show notes page on their blog. Many of these blogs have significant domain authority. Here are 3 tips for getting podcast interviews. Number 1, use Apple's top podcast charts to create a list of podcasts to target. Apple keeps track of the top 200 most listened to podcasts in every category. This is where you will build your list of podcasts to target. Start from number 200 and work your way to number 1, because there's going to be less competition for interviews from 200 and more as you get closer to number 1. The second tip is to create a specific pitch for each podcast that you target. Your email pitch should show them that you're an avid listener, explain how their listeners will benefit from your interview, and include what makes you the expert on the topic. The third tip is to spend 1 hour preparing for each interview. The host will typically send you the questions they will ask. Prepare yourself to give answers that deliver significant value to their listeners. Be completely transparent and weave a story that reveals how you overcame failure to find success. In addition to the backlink, podcast interviews will give you significant exposure that can lead to new clients and revenue. I break down my entire growth hack on how to get backlinks from podcast interviews in episode number 53, which is titled The Easiest Way to Get Quality Backlinks. Now let's go ahead and transition into my two favorite tactics for the deep linking strategy. Deep linking tactic number 1, design infographics that share your best content. The number one link building technique used by professional marketing companies is the infographic. On top of being an incredible link magnet, infographics also get more shares than any other type of content. Here are 4 keys to effectively using infographics to build high-quality links. Number 1, good design plus good content equals a linkable infographic. This is a real simple equation that you should always remember about infographics. You have to have both good design and good content, or no one is ever going to link to it. Number 2, create one quality infographic per month. As with most things, quality over quantity usually wins out. That is also the case with infographics. Instead of pumping out a mediocre infographic on a weekly basis, take your time in creating one quality infographic every month. This will also give you more time to promote your infographic to other bloggers. Number 3, use the guestographic outreach strategy. This is by far the most effective way to get bloggers to publish your infographic and link back to your blog. Basically, you will email each blogger offering to write a unique 300-word summary paired with your infographic. This eliminates any work that the blogger has to do, and it allows you to place a link to your blog in the summary. Number 4, post your infographic to Visually, which is visual.ly, Reddit, and Pinterest. These are the 3 communities that bloggers consistently use to search for new infographics to post on their blogs. For Pinterest, remember to add infographic to the end of your titles. For example, your Pinterest title would be 13 new SEO techniques for blogs, and then you'd have the word infographic enclosed in brackets. This makes your pin show up on Pinterest when a blogger does a search for infographic and whatever keyword they're searching for. The second deep linking tactic is to write statistics posts designed to get links from reporters. Pretty much every marketer knows about using infographics to get links, but very few know about how effective a statistics post can attract inbound links. More importantly, a statistic post acquires links 100% passively. The way this process works is actually really simple. Reporters use Google, just like us, to find statistics that they can use in their articles. If they find your post and use your stat, then you will get a big, fat, juicy link back to your blog. Here's my secret process for using statistics posts to attract high-quality links from reporters. Number 1, create a post title that is optimized for Google. Use the same techniques for creating a clickable title that I covered earlier in this series, which is odd number plus power word plus exact keyword phrase. If your keyword phrase is social media statistics, then your title might be 25 new social media statistics. Number 2, use bullets to list out each of your stats. Reporters are always on a deadline and have very little time to spend sifting through articles to find stats. You will want to list out each of your stats using bullets in groups of 6 to 9 stats. At the end of each of these groups, you will write your commentary. The commentaries will allow you to expand your total word count beyond 1,000 words so that Google will see your article having more content, and also it'll keep people on your page a little bit longer than the competition. Number 3, curate at least 10 more stats than the competition. Before you write your stats post, go through and scan the titles of the first 30 results on Google for the keyword phrase you are targeting. For example, social media statistics. Identify the largest number in a title and compile at least 10 more stats. If the largest numbered title is 27 great social media statistics, then your title will be 37 brand new social media statistics. Reporters, like most people, will click on the title with the biggest number. I suggest that you come up with a list of every possible statistic that you can write a post on. If you had a social media blog, then you would make stat posts on Pinterest, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and any other social media channel that you could think of. This is a powerful technique that continues to pay dividends for me. I have received backlinks from Forbes, the New York Times, and from dozens of the world's most popular news sites. If you want some help with walking you through the most important things that you need to do for your blog, then I recommend signing up to my brand new and free 30-day blogging challenge. For 30 straight days, you will receive an email that teaches you how to execute 30 high-impact tactics that will increase your blog's traffic, engagement, and the amount of money it makes. Each email will break down the basics in just a couple of minutes, and it will link to a special tutorial blog post filled with plenty of visuals and examples. I have had many conversations with listeners like yourself over the past year. There are some of you that are not quite where you need to be to buy my course, and you feel a little overwhelmed by everything that you've heard in my podcast. That is why I created the 30-day blogging challenge. As an extra bonus, I have created a private Facebook group just for my listeners that take the blogging challenge. The first email that you'll get will give you the link to the special Facebook group, and I highly recommend that you sign up and share your blog with the other group members right away. The group will allow you and the other listeners of my podcast to have a private community to ask for advice and share what's giving you the best results. To sign up to the free 30-day blogging challenge, go to theblogmillionaire.com/challenge. I will also put the link in the description of this episode. Once again, to sign up to the blogging challenge, go to theblogmillionaire.com/challenge. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode. Now go on over and sign up to the 30-day blogging challenge right now so that you can take your blog to the next level.
Thanks for tuning in for this episode of The Blog Millionaire. Go over to theblogmillionaire.com now to sign up to the waiting list for Brandon's exclusive online course that breaks down exactly how he gets over 1 million monthly visitors to his blog. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss any future episodes, and please take a moment to write a review for our podcast in the App Store.